Jason Whitlock, one of the biggest stories in sports the last year and a half, and the person to be that should be Sportsperson of the Year is Caitlin Clark. What cannot be discussed is the level of racial animus that is being directed at her. If you're in independent media, if you're Twitter, you can talk about it all the time, but I have yet to see it discussed on ESPN. Like, holy cow, these Hatton, Ashatten, Ashaniquas, this is racism. They played the Seattle Storm and Noelle Quinn is the Storm's head coach. Noelle Quinn got into a heated argument with Christy Sides, the head coach of the Indiana Fever, at the end of the game. They got their doors blown off by Caitlin Clark and the Fever, and at the end of it, Noelle Quinn starts yelling, screaming, and preaching at Christy Sides. What it was about was, at the end of the game, Caitlin Clark, they're up big, there's a timeout, she's down at the end of the court where the Seattle Storm bench is, and she's clapping and motioning to the crowd to keep pumping up the noise. Skylar Diggins intentionally bumps into Caitlin Clark and carries her into the Storm huddle and sideline area. You can see at the very end of the clip, Noelle Quinn gets triggered. She gets triggered because she thinks Clark is showing up the Seattle Storm team, but if she had not been bumped into by Skylar Diggins, she would have been nowhere near the Storm bench. To me, it's just another example of these black women. They got this animosity. It's not all of them, but it's enough of them that seem to be so bothered by the success of Caitlin Clark that they lose their composure, they lose their self-control, they just get triggered by her success, and it's like no one is talking about it. If you eliminate the first 10 games and just evaluate what Clark's done the last 18 games, she's the second best player in the league and has a case for MVP of the league if you just evaluate the last 18 to 19 games. She probably won't get it next year, but she'll probably be the best player in the league next year and should be the MVP. Her teammates have jumped on board with her because winning is infectious. They understand a rising tide lifts all boats. Caitlin Clark has them playing in sold-out big arenas every single game. It's like, how are we going to complain about this? And how are we going to complain about someone who passes me the ball and gets me so many easy shots and great looks? Her teammates are on board with her, and other players around the league are starting to jump on board. But there is this angry group. Noelle Quinn, Jewel Lloyd won't talk about her. Even Skylar Diggins, who I like, took that little shove at her. They're just enraged, jealous, and petty, and I'm just sorry it's racist and it's bigoted. If this were happening to a black player by a bunch of white players, this would be leading SportsCenter every night and every ESPN talk show. People called me crazy when I said she won't be facing death threats like Jackie Robinson, but this might be more difficult than Jackie Robinson.